Chapter 21 I Wish You Could See the World Through My Eyes, Part 2 Greta. Journal entry 9th day of the 5th month, 708th year. I must keep this record, at least for now. I am Freta. I returned to the tent with provisions, my bow, and waited for Dragatu. When he came back, he was very quiet. Everyone thinks he's focused when like this, but I know he was nervous and going over and over the plans. Once everyone was accounted for, we left. I stayed close to Dragatu, and the others followed behind me. The sun was setting, and we used the approaching darkness as a shield and shroud of stealth. We took a path going northeast. As the sun set, the stars dotted the sky beautifully, and the fire and torchlight of our large camp was left behind us. Once away from the camp, we went southwest, and our eyes adjusted to the limited light. Eventually, we arrived at the edge of the forest. It was very dark and still. Despite the stillness, I felt like we were being watched the whole time. I'm used to night hunts, but it was quite eerie. The only time we saw anything was when a stag darted across our path. Dragatu looked at me and smiled. I drew an arrow, but it had already run off into the thick of the forest. We continued on our journey through the forest, setting up camp when it was very late. At first light, we continued south. I was glad for the light that crept through the canopy of the trees. It dispelled some of the disquiet, but not all. After walking the whole day, we finally travelled east and waited until nightfall before entering the Old Nation. Under the dark sky, we crept through the streets to Dragatu's first home. Most people must have been at the fields because we didn't see anyone, and we hoped we hadn't been seen. After a brief pause of reverie, Dragatu entered the house, and we followed. It hadn't been lived in for a long time, and was very dusty. There was no furniture, but it gave us some cover and a place to sleep. Find a room to rest, Dragatu told everyone. Tomorrow will be the most important day of your lives. Once everyone dispersed, I followed Dragatu to the top floor. We entered the room I had once stayed in, and we took off our thick night coats. We laid one on the floor, sat down on it, and Dragatu wrapped his around us. How are you feeling? I asked. Everything is fine, he replied. Tomorrow is going to be a special day for everyone. I saw through his mask. It will be a special day, but how do you truly feel? I know you better than to believe fine is all you feel. He smiled. I can't hide from you, can I? Nope. But that's a good thing. I know. I'm lucky to have you. The truth is, I'm very distracted. I'm sorry for being so quiet. I'm trying to keep my thoughts under control. I cannot give the Coriol Honora any reason to doubt what we're doing. I have to be strong for everyone. It's okay to feel distracted and nervous, I said comfortingly. You take all this responsibility on yourself, and it's bound to be a burden. If you need to talk, I'm happy to listen. I don't know what I'd do without you, he said, and took a deep breath. It feels like everything in my life has prepared me for what we'll do tomorrow. I know the Creator is watching over me. I was meant to have the Book of Prophecy and help all the people. It's a lot of pressure, though. I'm so happy you are here with me for this. You give me focus. You're doing incredibly. I'm so happy to be here with you too. I then hesitated. I had a question, but was afraid to ask. I had to ask it, though, if only to reaffirm my own commitment. Is this really the best path, Dragatu? His deep red eyes narrowed as he looked at me, but I continued. I will always follow you because I love and trust you. But is this definitely what the Creator would want? Are we not just following a series of choices that has led us to this outcome? He was frowning. I could see he was hurt and a bit angry as he spoke. I was meant to keep the Book of Prophecy safe. I promised my father I would. I've been given my gifts to lead, and that's what I'm doing. It's what the Creator wanted. The prophecy I read came true and shows I'm on the right path. Everything since then couldn't have been coincidence. I need you to believe in me. It gives me strength. I do, I replied quickly and took his hand. I needed to hear your commitment, so that mine is strengthened. I'm not as strong as you. After tomorrow, everything will change, and I'm a bit scared. I do believe in you, Dragatu. Please don't doubt that. I just needed some reassurance. He smiled softly, his hurt disappearing. I understand, he said. I'm thankful that you question me. It helps me reassure myself. Do not be afraid. Together we'll get the Book of Prophecy. The secret will bring us all closer together and take away many of our doubts. We will know more about the future and the Creator. We'll all be happier. I know we will, I said. It was late, and with nothing more to say, we fell asleep in each other's arms. My head rested against his shoulder as I woke. Dragatu was looking down at me, smiling. I smiled back, and he moved his arm that had been around me. He stood up and looked out of the window. I got up and stood beside him. He was quiet for a while, then spoke. Thank you, Freta. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for questioning me, but most importantly, for believing in me. From a young age, I always felt no one believed in me. My father would have, but he is dead. I was close to my mother, but she always favoured Phenon. My brothers never understood me. Even with my friends, I never felt I could be my whole self. Then I met you, and this changed. You believed that I could make a difference. Thank you for this. I could not have gotten this far without you. Don't doubt that I'll always be by your side, I said firmly. Dragatu turned to me, and I looked up into those deep red eyes that conveyed how special he was. He stepped forward and took me in his arm. Today will be a busy day, he said. I want you to know that I love you and cannot wait to share the Book of Prophecy with you. However, there is much work to be done first. Can you make sure the Coriol Honora are awake and tell them we will be leaving soon? I withdrew from his embrace and walked down the empty stairs, entering rooms and relaying his message. A little while later, people were gathered in the hall, kitchen, and rooms on the ground floor. Dragatu walked confidently down the stairs and stopped a few steps from the bottom. He reminded them that this was going to be a glorious day and came to stand beside me, silent and expressionless. I could tell he was totally focused and had no more nerves. It was time to leave, and he stepped out the front door into the hazy morning light of dawn. We passed house after house, and most were empty. Every so often we heard movement, but saw no one. We arrived as planned at high sun. In the distance, the echoing shouts and footsteps of thousands of people began to rise. Dragatu was marching. Honrus was marching bravely, giving the distraction we needed. We approached the castle slowly, and saw 20 men gathered at the front. They stared towards the magnificent sound. Shock and fear painted on their faces. I could tell they wanted to leave and help their people, but they stayed. Dragatu turned to us and moved to the centre of all the Coriol Honora, so they could hear him. This is it. This is where we make a difference. Our people are out there. He pointed in the direction of the noise. Not only those who came with us, but those who live here. They are our people. It's time to reunite them. The guards you see are afraid. They will back down if we all go at once. Then you will guard them while Freta and I enter the house. Does everyone understand? Some nodded, while others said yes. Dragatu then turned, walked into the open street, and we followed. When the first person saw us, he shouted, and others looked around in surprise. Friends, we mean you no harm, Dragatu said boldly. We've come to collect something that is rightfully mine. We are trained fighters and hunters, and you are no match for us. Put down your Unatus, and you'll not be harmed. But if you try to resist, we'll be forced to stop you. I don't want this to happen. Put down your Unatus. They looked at each other, and then stupidly decided to stand their ground. Unatus and shields were raised with defiant glares. You're certainly braver than expected, but just as stupid, Dragatu said. He signaled for the Coriol Honora to surround them in a semicircle, and this pushed them back onto the steps of the castle. Stand your ground, he then told us, and walked forward by himself. It took the Coriol Honora and me by surprise. We protested, but he raised a hand to silence our fears. One guard suddenly came forward with his Unatu, and shield ready. Dragatu smiled and shook his head. The guard swung the sharp blade, but Dragatu blocked it with his own. With a swift reverse action, he struck the guard's shield. It split in two. The guard screamed as the blow vibrated into him. He withdrew back into the group, dropping his Unatu and cradling his arm. Your resistance is pointless, Dragatu declared. Please don't make me hurt any more of you. They looked at one another, admitted to defeat, and dropped their weapons and shields. As the clattering sounds faded, Dragatu signaled a few Coriol Honora to collect them. He strode to the top of the steps and told Coriol Honora to watch the guards. Do not let anyone else in or out, he added. They all nodded. Better leave your bow here, he then said to me. It will only slow us down inside. I nodded and gave it to one of the Coil Honora. Time to change the world, he whispered through a warm smile. I smiled back and we entered the castle together.